The FIA released the details of the next generation of Formula One cars yesterday. 2026 will see a completely new hybrid engine run on 100% sustainable synthetic fuels, powering a new, more aerodynamically complex car. The FIA have declared that the new regulations will make the cars smaller, lighter, and more nimble, but the current F1 grid aren't so sure. With the full regulations now revealed, F1 drivers have been voicing their concerns over what racing will be like in the new cars, and today we'll check them all out, so don't go anywhere. So on Thursday the 6th of July 2024, the FIA released the details of what the 2026 technical regulations for Formula One will be. Alongside the details, they released some images of the new cars, along with picking out a few highlighted features. For the teams, this image and the highlight features mean absolutely nothing. The likes of Adrian Newey and James Allison will be reading the rules twice over the next few days, the first time to work out what the FIA want them to build, and the second time to work out what they can actually build. For the F1 technical teams, this is an exciting time as they dive deep into the finer points of the technical specifications, trying to find any loophole or abusable area that they can use to gain edge over the competition. Of course, they won't be allowed to begin any development on the 2026 rules until January 1st, 2025, so for now, the technical rules will be bedtime reading and personal hypotheses. The new power unit regulations have been known for a couple of years already, as the development cycle for them is much longer, especially considering the brand new fuel that the series is inventing to run them on. While vague statements about the aero regulations have been known for a while, the actual finer details have been kept secret. The FIA's announcement on Thursday, on the eve of this weekend's Canadian Grand Prix, is the first confirmation of the 2026 chassis rules. Featuring active aero, the new cars will be 30 kilograms lighter than the current F1 machinery, and will be both shorter and narrower. The wheelbase is being reduced from 3,600mm to 3,400mm, with the width of the cars dropping from 2,000mm to 1,900mm. Furthermore, the maximum floor width will be reduced by 150mm. While the FIA is retaining the 18-inch wheel size that's been present since 2022, the width of the front tyres will be reduced by 25mm and the rears by 30mm. As part of an effort to both get the chassis perfectly suited for the new engine rules, as well as help cars follow each other better, downforce has been reduced by 30% and drag by 55%. That reduction in drag is particularly important as there were concerns, specifically from the new Red Bull powertrain division, that the cars wouldn't produce enough electrical energy and race pace to keep the hybrid engine running. The aerodynamic elements of the car, which feature movable wings, have been designed in such a way as to minimize the dirty air phenomenon that is so harmful to the racing. This was the aim of the previous technical regulation changes in 2022 as well, but the actual impact is debatable. Fans and drivers will be hoping that the FIA have learned from their previous attempt to improve the racing and made changes that have a tangible impact. To try and reduce the dirty air this time around, the 2026 cars will have a narrower front wing, no front wheel arches, and in-washing wheel weight control boards in front of the side pods. At the back of the car, there'll be a 3-element active rear wing, featuring simplified end plates, with the lower beam wing being removed. Hidden from view, the 2026 F1 cars will feature a partially flat floor and lower powered diffuser to reduce the ground effect and not make performance so reliant on ultra-stiff and low ride height setups. The FIA's single-seater director Nicholas Tombazis labeled the new regulations a moderate revolution, but reckoned they fitted in perfectly with what F1 should be. Cars are light, supremely fast and agile, but which also remain at the cutting edge of technology, and to achieve this we work towards what we called a nimble car concept. Lighter, more powerful, and more focused on driver skill, the 2026 FIA Formula One technical regulations have been designed to provide closer racing among drivers, increase the competition between the teams, and to improve the spectacle. A return to the smaller and lighter cars of past generations of Formula One is a move that many fans and members of the sport have been asking for a long time. The racing should in theory be closer with a reduction in dirty air produced by the cars, something that everyone wants. The use of sustainable fuels and an increased electrical component in the engines is attracting new engine suppliers to the sport as the automotive industry looks to move away from traditional fossil fuel engines. If the headline features of the new regulations are correct, then the 2026 cars should be fantastic, but the current drivers are yet to be convinced. Lewis Hamilton has given only a cautious welcome to the plans for the next generation of Formula One cars, but the British driver has praised the effort to make a step forward in the new formula's environmental considerations. Hamilton will be in his second year with Ferrari, whom he joins next season from Mercedes when the new regulations come into play. Speaking before this weekend's Canadian Grand Prix, the seven-time world champion, who has long been a critic of how heavy, wide and unwieldy the current cars are, wanted to see more detail on whether the new models would present an improved prospect for drivers and fans. "It's only 30 kilos, so it's going in the right direction, but it's still heavy," he said. "I've only just seen what you've all seen. I've spoken to some drivers who've driven it on the simulator. I haven't, but they said it's pretty slow, so we'll see if it is actually the right direction or not." Formula One technical regulations have always aimed to slow down the cars. As the cars get faster, the danger involved in racing them increases, and if left unchecked, F1 teams would create cars so fast that if they crashed, the risk to drivers and spectators would be far too high. Historically, changes to the regulations have reduced the speed of the cars initially, but the teams have always managed to gain that pace back over time. Slower cars does not necessarily mean a worse spectacle, but that will depend on just how much slower they are, something that we won't know until pre-season of 2026. Hamilton did go on to say that the work done on the engines is fantastic. In terms of sustainability on the power unit, that's a really bold step and going in the right direction, the 39-year-old said. "We've just got to make sure the cars are efficient, fast, and an actual step forward, and the racing is improved." Hamilton isn't the only F1 veteran to express his concerns over the new regulations. Fernando Alonso, the longest-serving driver on the current grid, was unconvinced by what he saw, stating that the weight loss expected from the FIA is actually impossible. "I think it is impossible probably to achieve 30 kilos already," the two-time F1 world champion said. "If the power unit is 50% electric and you need the batteries to support that, cars will just increase 20 or 30 kilos because of the power unit. And then you want to reduce 30 kilograms? You need to drop 60 kilos of the current car, which is the same as at the moment. Probably to the teams, it's an impossible target." He did go on to say that the time frame given to the teams might make it possible, and that if anyone could do it, then F1 engineers could, but his concerns are valid. When the regulations were last overhauled in 2022, of the 10 teams on the grid, only Alfa Romeo achieved the minimum weight that the regulations allowed, which led to the FIA changing the regulations to increase the minimum weight. Hopefully this time, the FIA have got their maths right, and the new minimum weight of 768 kilograms is achievable. Hamilton wasn't the only driver to express concerns over how slow the new cars are. Haas driver Nico Hülkenberg said the new cars will have a lot less downforce, especially in high-speed corners. Less downforce in high-speed corners obviously means the cars can't drive as fast. Alex Albon also pointed this out, saying, "I don't want to speak out of turn, but it's going to be very slow, extremely slow. I'm guessing there's a lot of stuff being done around making sure the straight-line speeds are not tapering off at the end with all the MGUK and whatnot being involved. I still think there needs to be some work done. Seeing the speed traces around some of the tracks, it's pretty slow." The new regulations will feature more active aerodynamic components to help with the straight-line speed and cornering speed. DRS won't be a feature anymore. Instead, drivers will have extra electrical energy to deploy to the engine if they're close enough to the car in front. Instead, the active aero component of the car, which is on the front and rear wing, will activate on every straight to reduce drag, and therefore reduce the load on the engine to help manage the electrical charge, as well as increasing the straight-line speed. Formula One design teams have an incredible ability to overcome any challenge they're faced with, and let's hope they can manage these ones. What are your thoughts on the new technical regulations? Are you worried about the negativity from the drivers? Or do you trust the teams to create incredible racing cars? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.